Okay, so today we're going to travel back to ancient India. But forget the usual history books for a second. Our guide on this journey? Well, it's actually a series of ancient technical manuals. Guides to grammar, rituals, and astronomy. We're about to uncover the incredible histories hidden right inside them.
I mean, think about it. How do you actually reconstruct a world from thousands of years ago? How do we get past all the epic myths and legends to figure out what the real everyday lives of people were actually like back then? It's a massive historical puzzle.
The specific stuff. What were the actual rituals and ceremonies like? When a couple got married, what did they do? What kind of promises did they make to each other? These are the little details that really bring history to life.
Or let's think bigger. How were entire kingdoms organized? What was the deal between a king and his people? How did they handle laws and social order? Turns out, the answers aren't always where you'd expect to find them, and that right there is where our story really kicks off.
See, the key to unlocking all these secrets lies in a collection of texts known as the Vedangas. Now, you've probably heard of the Vedas, the main sacred texts. But the thing is, the Vedas don't stand alone. They have these limbs that support them.
And that's literally what Vedanga means, the limbs of the Veda. You can almost think of them as the original user manuals. They were created for a very practical reason, to make sure the main Vedic texts were pronounced perfectly, understood correctly, and used in rituals without a single mistake. Their job was to preserve tradition. But, as we're about to find out, they ended up preserving a whole lot more.
So there are 6 of them, and each one has a super specific job. You've got Shiksha for phonetics, Kalpa for rituals, Vyakarana for grammar. Then there's Nirukta, which is all about tracing word origins, super cool stuff, and Chandas for poetic meters, and Jyotisha for astronomy. And I know what you're thinking. A list of ancient academic subjects sounds a little dry, right? But trust me, this is where the action is.
Because buried inside these very technical manuals are accidental records of life itself. Historians have figured out how to read between the lines of these texts to find the most amazing clues about ancient Indian society, politics, and even science.
All right, let's start with Kalpa. This is the Vedanga that's all about ritual. It's basically a giant instruction manual for ceremonies. But what kind of ceremonies? That's where it gets really interesting.
And this is where it gets totally fascinating. The Kalpa texts are actually split into different types. You had the Grihya Sutras, which detail all the household rituals, giving us a direct peek into family life and marriage. Then there are the Dharma Sutras, which act almost like legal codes, outlining social duties and the Varna system. And finally, the Shraddha Sutras describe these huge royal ceremonies which tell us all about the power of the king. So a simple manual for rituals becomes this accidental window into the home, the society, and the palace. Okay, so our next clue comes from an even more unlikely place, a grammar textbook. I'm talking about a text called the Ashtadhyayi by this absolute genius of a grammarian, Panini. It's a masterpiece of linguistics, for sure, but it's also, and this is the wild part, a map of its time. So while Panini was explaining the rules of Sanskrit, he needed examples, right? And where did he get his examples? From the world around him. He just casually mentions the names of different kingdoms, or Janapadas, like Kuru and Gandhara. For a historian, this is pure gold. Without this grammar text, we would be missing a huge piece of the political and geographical map of ancient India.
And it goes even deeper than that. The vocabulary that Panini uses to lay out his grammar rules has specific words for traders and for farmers and for artisans. So what, right? Well, think about it. If you have distinct words for all these different jobs, it means those jobs were common enough to just be part of everyday language. It points directly to a pretty complex and diversified economy. Our third key takes us up to the stars. The Jyotisha Vedanga was all about astronomy. Now, its main purpose was super practical. It was about creating a calendar to figure out the exact perfect time for rituals. But in doing so, it reveals this incredibly deep scientific knowledge. Just take this one number, 27. The Vedanga Jyotisha text describes in detail 27 different constellations, or nakshatras, that the moon passes through. Now, this isn't just some casual stargazing. This is systematic, long-term observation of the cosmos, which they use to calculate time, months, and seasons. It's hard evidence of a really sophisticated scientific tradition. So when you start to put all these different pieces together, the rituals, the grammar, the astronomy, you begin to see a much more complete picture emerging. I mean, these limbs of the Veda were never meant to be history books. And yet, that's exactly what they've become for us today, accidental archives. They give us this invaluable, concrete information on everything from family life and social hierarchies to political geography, scientific breakthroughs, and economic activity. They're just this powerful reminder that history is so often hidden in the most unexpected places.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thought, doesn't it? If a rule book for grammar can hold a political map, and a guide to rituals can reveal the entire structure of a family, it really makes you wonder. What other secrets are just lying there in plain sight, waiting for us to look at them in a completely new way? What other user manuals from the past are we just not seeing yet?